Hello YouTube, it's Treebo at the start of patch 5.2. I want to tell you a bit about myself before we start. I've been playing World of Warcraft on and off since the end of Burning Crusades, around about that time. I've played various classes for various reasons. I used to be a bit of a hardcore PvE player, not really interested in PvP at all. But recently I've got a bit bored of repetitive dungeons and raids and so on, so I decided to change my class and everything so I could play a bit more PvP. I play League of Legends. I tend to play more assassination classes such as Warwick and etc. if you play League of Legends. So I decided to go with Rogue. I've been playing Rogue since mid-Cataclysm. They are, in my opinion, a brilliant class. They have good, easy rotation when it comes to PvE, so you can still raid and so on and contribute to the guild as I do. But when it comes to PvP, they're a bit more challenging and, in my opinion, a hell of a lot of fun. So today I'm going to bring you a video on PvP. I haven't been PvPing because I had an off period at the start of Mr. Pandaria. I leveled to 90 and got a bit bored of the content and had a bit of a break for a while, for a month or two, and I just came back on a couple of weeks before 5.2 was due to come out. So what I decided to do is I left gearing up PvP and starting then, and I've waited until patch 5.2 to start gearing, which I have done. As you can see, I've only got a couple of pieces. I've literally only spent my Justice and Honor cap on a couple of pieces. I did quite well in Raid Finder. I've been doing that the last couple of days. I've got quite a few new bits and bobs from there, so I wasn't really well geared because obviously I had a big break through the middle of MOP, so hopefully I'm going to get fairly quickly honor geared and start doing arenas and BGs. Before we start, I'd like to say this video is a beginner's guide, not an in-depth advanced player's guide. We're going to start with talents. Now, I'm subtlety spec because I believe that as a beginner, and generally I think subtlety is the best spec for PvP. So through my talents, for the first one I take subterfuge. Now, stealth breaking after 3 seconds will give you a crucial 3 seconds where you cannot be hit. You cannot be targeted and you cannot be hit. That is crucial for not only getting off your opener, so you can use your gouge, your cheap shot to keep them stunned, really getting off your opener, but you won't get hit. You won't get targeted by other players, you won't get targeted by the player you're targeting. The other two are Night Stalker, increase your movement speed while stealthed, and the damage. It's good, but I don't think it's for me because of this talent I take down here, Cloak and Dagger. I don't really need movement speed because of you can use your openers like Cheap Shot and Garrote from 30-yard range, and you'll appear behind your target. So you don't really need the movement speed, I would say. These two talents work really well with each other. If you don't go for Cloak and Dagger and you go for Shadow Step, for instance, maybe you want to look at taking Shadow Focus. It's been nerfed. It used to be 100% ability cost reduction. It's now only 75%, but that is still a considerable amount. The two I would go for this next band would either be Combat Readiness, like I've gone for a bit of extra survivability, or Nerve Strike. Now, Nerve Strike is also good. It reduces the target's damage and healing. Now, 6 seconds after a kidney shock or cheap shot. This you could keep this up, and this could be a very useful talent. I'm not brilliant at keeping up my stuns. I have to improve on that. So for now, I've just taken Combat Readiness because I believe, because I'm only doing BGs at the moment, it just gives you a bit of extra survivability when you're being hit, because successive attacks will deal 10% less damage per application. If you're being massively hit and targeted, obviously you're going to build up to the 5 stacks, and it's going to last the whole 20 seconds. So 50% reduced damage for 20 seconds sounds good to me if you're getting focused. I've also gone for a bit more survivability here using feint elusiveness. This causes your feint ability reduced damage taken by 30%. It's just another damage reduction. You can take a glyph on this, which ups it to 7 seconds from 5 seconds, but I haven't done so. I wouldn't take leeching poison. It does give you heals, but it's not really enough for PvP to make a massive difference. In terms of survivability, I think elusiveness would be a better take. Cheat death. Now, I might start experimenting with this talent because apparently last patch it wasn't very good. It wasn't working for a lot of people and doing a lot. The word is it's been fixed this patch, but I haven't yet tried it out and seen for myself what the benefits of it are. So for now, I'm just taking elusiveness. Overall, I would probably take cheat death or elusiveness. It's down to how your playstyle is. I mean, I like having my row of damage reduction spells at the bottom. So cheat death, I mean, an attack would otherwise be fatal, reduces you to 10% of your maximum health, and reduce damage by 80% for 3 seconds. 8% damage reduction for 3 seconds, bearing in mind you're already on 10% health. Is that really a lot? Who knows? I mean, 30% reduced damage isn't a lot, but your feint has a 20... has an instant cooldown, so you can keep feinting and keep it up if you really want to. Every time I do this, it's 20 energy, you know, yes it's energy cost, but you can keep it up. And you can constantly have your reduced damage. Now this is a difficult one. The new ability Cloak and Dagger has replaced Premeditation, because Premeditation is now a standard spell, which is very useful, because obviously if you use your combat readiness, your blind, your vanish, evasion, dismantle, press that and they all come back. Well, it's not combat readiness, sorry, that's my mistake. So it's very useful, you know, that gives you your extra survivability again, your extra escape, an extra bit of damage reduction. It's useful to have as a normal talent. So going back to the talents, Burst of Speed was a good talent. I used it last patch in BGs such as Warsong Glutch. I got 3 caps and all of them are fast caps, which is, if I remember, the achievement is cap the flag in under 75 seconds. Using this speed, it's basically a spammable 70% speed increase, so it was good. The only problem with it was it breaks stealth, which now it does not. This is good, but in my opinion, when you come into things, especially in arenas, not as useful as the other two. Shadow Step, obviously a good ability, always has been for a rogue, but hit behind the target and increase movement speed. But in my opinion, you know, it was good for... I think Cloak and Dagger is going to be the best take in this thing, because it basically has almost the same effect as Shadow Step. You can get your 30-yard range, you know, and appear behind the target, but it also, because it works in stealth, it also works with your Shadow Dance on. So an example of why Cloak and Dagger is OP, obviously you can go in, well, I'll tell you about my macro in a minute, we'll just go for a cheap shot. So you go in for a cheap shot, you can stun this guy, go over here, instant ambush or Garrote or something like that, you can blind your other target, open out on him. It's so OP, you can dance around all over the place, whereas Shadow Step obviously has a 25-second cooldown. I would really recommend taking it. This next one, there's a good choice between all 3 of these as well. Dirty Tricks I don't see myself taking. Prey on the Weak, 10% damage increase. So with your opener, 10% damage increase. Keep them stunned, why not, at the end of the day. Paralytic Poison can be useful, Again, this had problems in 5.1. A lot of the time I used it myself and I didn't find it going off a lot of the time. Apparently it's been fixed again, just like cheap death, but again I haven't gone for using it. I've decided to go for the 10% increased damage because who doesn't want 10 strength increased damage? It gives you an extra stun. You can use it with Shiv and get your instant stun. It's an extra 4-second stun, but you know, I think gouge, kidney shot, cheap shot, you've got enough stuns there really. You know, dirty tricks, you can literally sap your target, whack a gouge on him and leave him to die, but you know, he'll probably trinket or something like that, and it's not going to do a great deal of damage, to be fair. The last one, there is a new ability, Mark for Death, instantly generating 5 combo points. If the target dies within 1 minute, Mark for Death cooldown is reset. Yeah, an extra 5 combo points could be nice, but really 1 minute cooldown is not a lot. So the bonus of it resetting is not a great deal unless you're in a BG with lots of guys with low health and you can just go Mark for Death and whack them all down. Anticipation, brilliant for PvE, not brilliant for PvP because you shouldn't be missing out on combo points really. So I cannot say enough how much you should take Shrunken Toss. You do have Throw as standard, but it replaces Throw. It deals a hell of a lot of damage. You know, they've changed it a bit. So it's a not a focus cast, but you can constantly cast it without having to click it or spam it. It's got increased damage from last patch. It will coat them in poison, so damage intake increased by 5%, and obviously they got your deadly poison on them. You can still spam it, and if you spam it, look at my DPS. I can do like almost 15k DPS just from spamming it. Now if you've got a target, he's like a mage, you know, let's stop that. You can just target everybody and just keep throwing them at them and just, you know, whack a load of poison on everyone, get some damage on them. It's good ability for mages, you know, they might flash away, blink away, sorry, and, you know, only have about 30k health. Oh well, just whack a couple of Shrunken Toshes on them, you'll probably finish them off. It doesn't do a lot of damage at the moment, but I've seen people do almost 80k crits with it, which is a hell of a lot when you've got your PvP power to the max. Mine is very low at the moment, it's only 16, so that will go up when I gear properly, but I cannot compare how much I use this ability. It is just brilliant for finishing off people when they run away. Glyphs now. For your main glyphs, I take Garrote because you get an extra 1.5 seconds silence. That's very useful. Blind, it removes damage over time effects from the target, so obviously they're not getting awoken by getting a hit from a poison or your bleeds or anything like that, so you can keep them blinded whilst you heal up or whatever. Stealth, I think stealth is the most important one because you need your stealth at the end of the day. Reduce the ability by 4 seconds. It is a 2-second cooldown with this glyph. That is useful because you are going to use stealth a lot to get lots of openers and damage. Minor glyphs, it's up to you, to be honest. I mean, I like to use decoy because it fools some people. Glyphs of blurred speed, that's useful for some BGs walking over the water. I take hemorrhage. You could also take safe fall, would be a very useful one. The rest of them are pretty useless, to be honest. Poisons could be a useful one if you need to change your poisons around, which I don't think you do. As for using poisons, it's entirely up to you, to be honest. I mean, it depends who you're facing. Obviously, if you are facing a spellcaster, you want mind-numbing poison. If you're facing a healer, you want wound poison. Deadly poison I usually take, and mind-numbing poison. You can have crippling poison to slow them. It's up to you, to be honest. It's down to your playstyle. That's not, irrelevant. So what we're going to look at for stat priority? Well, in my opinion, I like Mastery. Mastery will increase your slice and dice effectiveness, which you should be keeping up at all times, as well as your recuperate if you can. At the moment my Mastery isn't that high, it's only 37%. It increases the effectiveness of your slice and dice by 37%. Standard it's 40% increased attack speed, mine is 54%, I believe that the reason you should stack Mastery is because the fact that it boosts your slice and dice ability means that obviously increases your haste, which means that you don't have to take as much haste, and it increases the effectiveness of your finishing moves. Now, your finishing moves are going to give you your one-shots. You're going to get massive hits with Eviscerate, you're going to get massive hits with Ambush. I think Mastery is more important than Crit because of it basically is Crit and Haste put together in a sense. So, Reforging, Mastery, probably then Haste, because if you've already got Mastery and you need to reforge something else, and then and then Crit. I'd say you need a bit more Haste, just so you can keep your energy flow going, keep enough energy in your pool to keep going, You don't want to be running out and having to wait for it to come back, so, Haste is useful. Obviously, don't forget, you need to do your hit and expertise. That is at 3.5%. Try and get it as close to 3.5% as you can, so you're not wasting valuable stats on overdoing your haste. Mine are quite high at the moment because I'm mostly in my PvP gear, and obviously for PvP you want it at 7.5 so you can hit bosses without missing. You only want it at 3.5 because obviously in PvP you're only hitting level 90s, so you only need it at that much. So once you've got these capped out at 3.5, I'd go Mastery, then Haste, then Crit for reforging. Get as much PvP power and PvP resilience as you can. Gemming, it's entirely up to you. I would focus your gems on PvP power and resilience. I'm going for PvP power at the moment because I like to do lots of damage. If you want to have a bit more survivability, then obviously you need to go for resilience for damage reduction. I haven't got a head slot gem, so I can't really talk about it at the moment, but I will do another tutorial later on when I'm fully geared. This is just a good beginner's tutorial. So at the moment I am, as I say, just gemming as much PvP power as I can get. And obviously try and keep the right colour gems in the right colour slots so you get the socket bonuses, because PvP gear gives you better bonuses, such as your gloves giving you an increased healing you receive from recuperate by 1% every 3 seconds. It's not much, but it's helpful. So reforging, gemming, enchanting, just go for the basics, to be honest. I haven't done any enchants yet. I'm not planning on doing until I have fully geared. Another thing I would really recommend, because of the way they've done PvP this year, a lot of people don't like it because it's easy to get the PvP weapons. Now, they carry a hell of a lot of PvP power, so as soon as you can get them, because they carry about 2.5 PvP power, I think, which, well, how much have I got altogether? 4.2, and that's 16%. So 2.5, that's going to give you like 20% extra PvP power, which is 20% extra damage. So you need to get those weapons as fast as you can. You only need 7,250 honor points to unlock them, so that's about 5-6 pieces of gear basically. go for it. As soon as you can get them. So that concludes my tutorial. I will do a tutorial on rotations, openers, different macros you should use, etc. later on when I'm more geared. A couple of things I would say for your openers. I use one macro that I would really recommend. It's a brilliant macro. I use it as my opener. Basically, it casts pre-med to get your points up, and then cheap shot. So obviously you're in stealth, cast pre-med, cast cheap shot, so you get loads of points. You're in with a cheap shot, get a Garrote off, get your slice and dice going. Build up the if you're still in stealth, get an ambush in there if you can. Otherwise, backstab, hemorrhage, get your bleeds on them, kidney shot, go from there. If you click it twice, it will activate your Shadow Dance and your Trinket to give you extra damage. Obviously, you want this for your burst, and obviously, when you're doing so, activate Shadow Blaze and do your burst. For your burst, obviously, rotate between ambush and eviscerate, keeping your kidney shot up for your stun, and keep your Garrote up for your damage bonus and your dots. Really use Shrunken Toss if they start running away, because it really is, it is just a brilliant move for finishing people off. Feint obviously doesn't have a cooldown, it energy costs. Reduce damage taken from area effects by 50% and all damage taken by 30%. 5 seconds. Maybe you want to I've decided maybe I want to take the glyph, give it 7 seconds and keep it up, to be honest, because 30% reduced damage for a whole fight is not bad. It's good. So use your stuns, use your dismantles, etc. Keep your slice and dice up. It's important because you will be able to put more hits in. Keep your recuperate up for your survivability. Other than that, have fun. And I'll see you in the next tutorial coming up, when I'll go for a more in-depth on when I make some more macros and for rotations and openers and one-shots. Okay, thank you very much. See you soon.